the truth. I'm Christy Birchfield, and telling the truth is not always as easy as it sounds. Today we're looking at Daniel chapter 5, and we're in verses 25 through 28. Now, we've had this whole scenario going through with a hand writing words on a wall, a king who doesn't understand, and Daniel being brought in to help interpret. Now, if you've missed any of those sessions explaining those things, you can always click on the link in the description below to go to the full playlist. You'll see the entire series there. But telling the truth, not nearly as easy as it sounds. And in fact, there are many times when it would have been so much easier to have either omitted the truth or maybe just told somebody what they wanted to hear instead of the truth. Daniel found himself in this circumstance, and we've been doing this series of leading through challenging circumstances. Having to tell the leader the truth, even when it's not really what they want to hear, is really tough. The message that Daniel was about to give the king was not a good message. It was not a message the king was going to be excited to hear. And yet Daniel walked through piece by piece, explaining the message that God had given the king. The king's rule was going to end. His kingdom was going to be divided and given to another. One of the verses that we're going to call out today is chapter 5, verse 26. And it's really the start of Daniel's explanation. It says, "Here is what these words mean. Many, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end." And he goes through and explains every word that was written on that wall and what that means for the king. None of them were things the king was going to like. Now, Daniel's an older man by this point, and this is not the first time that Daniel had delivered a message like this to a king. Daniel didn't sugarcoat this message, and he didn't attempt to say anything except the truth. Now, Daniel had been an advisor for this king's father. This king was King Belshazzar, his father, King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel had seen King Nebuchadnezzar react and respond to the truth when presented with it, and Nebuchadnezzar jumped to repentance. I think Daniel was probably interested to see how his son was going to respond. How was King Belshazzar going to respond to receiving the truth of the coming judgment of God? Regardless of what he thought would happen or not happen, Daniel conveyed the truth of the message to the king. Regardless of what we think is going to happen or not happen, we have a responsibility to deliver the truth to those people that we are around and that God has provided a message to. We need to give that truth in love, and we need to convey that truth with all of the responsibility that God has provided with us. But the question comes down, are we willing to convey the truth, even when it's hard? Be willing to lead and share the truth today. And make sure you subscribe. We're continuing through this chapter. We got a couple more days left in this chapter, and you don't want to miss it. We'll see what the king's response was. I will see you tomorrow.